Stadium in Calgary, the final home game of the regular season for the Stampeders. They next play there a month from now in the Western Final. They're trying to continue a great season. Could be the greatest ever. And they got the Toronto Argonauts in town.
All right, Ricky Ray, give him some credit. Coming back from a broken rib and a punctured lung, amazingly accurate, knows the offense. He can make a difference, but will the teammates around him make the difference too?
Tommy Campbell is quickly developing a reputation for himself as the shutdown corner in the Canadian Football League. This rookie corner got 2 interceptions in the year so far and is a force to be reckoned with.
Bo Levi Mitchell should change his name to The Man, because all year long he has been the man. And if you ask him, he'll tell you he's the man, because when he steps on the field, he shows you he is the man. The man.
The man.
I guess he's a man.
And the Stamps going up against the Toronto Argonauts coming up. We welcome viewers on TSN1 for this later game here on Friday Night Football with the Argos and the Stampeders. The panel, Jock Climby, you know all these guys. Milt Stiegel, Chris.
Don't bother introducing us. Everybody knows who we are.
We all know who you are by now. Well, we know who the Stampeders are. They're the best in the league. And we know who the Argos are lately. They really have been the worst, but they're not done yet. Hamilton's losing right now. If the Ticats lose and the Argos are their playoff hopes hanging by a thread, Stampeders have a different issue with motivation. I would think they've already clinched the West.
You got any forks around? I wouldn't mind.
You're just going to stick them in anyway,
stick
right?
a fork in the Argos right now. I don't care what the stats say about what could possibly happen. They're done. This is a football team that hasn't had a lead in 4 straight games, 252 minutes without leading a football game. They can even start a game with a rouge and be up 1-0. That's how bad this football team is. Hey, they're trying to figure out who they are next year. And so Ricky Ray's coming into this football game. That's what's exciting for me to watch. Will he make any kind of a difference? And for Calgary, I'm just looking to see if this team can find motivation to play football at the intensity that the game has to be played at. You can't just, football's one of those games, Schultz, you and I talked about it. You can't just sort of walk out there and just sort of mail it in. You can't coast. But can they find a way to keep up the intensity going into the playoffs?
And I've been in a situation too many times that these Argonauts in. Basically, your season is over.
You play for the Bombers for too long, Milt. That's true, yes.
You're playing against a great team, and you mentioned something earlier. A lot of guys are playing hard because they want their incentives. They need that extra money. But I used to talk about, guys, let's go out here and play for some pride. Let's go out here and show that we can go out here and do something.
No, you didn't.
It never worked.
You played.
It never worked.
You had incentives for touchdowns and for yards.
I did, John, but I still played hard. I wanted to go out there and play.
Pride.
And I'm not going to look at you anymore, John. They have an opportunity to prevent this team from making history, too.
Well, for me, it's the mental toughness issue, completely different ways. For the Toronto Argonauts, it's mental toughness overcoming adversity. For the Calgary Stampeders, it's mental toughness overcoming apathy. There is something about playing a game with purpose. I am positive mentally the toughness of the Calgary Stampeders will be there. For the Argonauts, you're not 100% sure.
I always think of it as just taking a business-like approach to the game, and the Calgary Stampeders have impressed me with that. In fact, every great football team I've seen in the Canadian Football League has that approach. It's just business. It doesn't matter what the score is. It doesn't matter where you are in the standings. It's business time. Just go out there and get it done.
The one problem I have with these Stampeders is they get out early. That first half, they're up on you 20, 30 points, and then they come in that second half and they tend to coast. Want to see if they can go 60 minutes.
That's a problem every team in the league is having. The Calgary Stampeders, by the way, 14-1-1, chasing history, including a game against the Argos tonight.
The legend of Bo continues to grow.
Mitchell steps up, open, touchdown!
Ricky Ray is back.
Ray looks the other way, touchdown! The Calgary Stampeders have won 13 consecutive games.
Easily right now the class of the Canadian Football League.
Thanks, Rod. Gorgeous night in the foothills. Argos look to stay alive. Stampeders try to cap a perfect home season. Toronto, Calgary tonight from McMahon.
Ricky Ray's last game was September 5th. He threw for almost 400 yards in that one, with the playoffs still possible. The Argos are hoping the future Hall of Famer can rally the troops and stop this losing streak. This is start number 199 for Ricky Ray. He goes head-to-head with Bo Levi Mitchell, who is having a record-breaking season. Mitchell has the best record after 50 starts in CFL history at 42-7-1.
Well, Dave Dickinson was not satisfied with last week's victory over Montreal, still prodding a team that's won 13 straight, unbeaten in 15, looking to go 9-0 at home for the third time in team history. On the other sideline, a much different story. Scott Milanovich's Argos have lost 9 of 10. They haven't led in the last 4 games. They need a Hamilton defeat and a win here to keep their playoff hopes alive. It was 48-20 back in Toronto a few weeks ago. Rematch here. The Argos have won 2 of their last 3 visits to McMahon as Hairolahu kicks it off. Calgary won the toss, won at the football, and it's in the hands of Jamal Nixon, who gets across the 25-yard line, and that's where Bo Levi Mitchell will go to work. Over 5,000 yards passing and now 25 completions away from Doug Flutie's team record.
Yeah, that 5,127 leads the CFL in passing yards. 30 touchdowns to just 8 interceptions. Boy, they get off to a good start, this team. 13 of their 16 games this year, they have led after the first quarter. Imperative for Toronto to get off to a good start here.
And they hand it off to Jerome Messam. He ripped them apart the last time, and the GO train already off and running into Argo territory. He had 17 carries, 133 yards. In Toronto, he just ripped off 32, and now a career best for Jerome Messam on a season.
Yeah, big hole off the right side of that offensive line, and get good blocking by Spencer Wilson on the linebacker. Pierre Lavertu at the point of attack, and away goes Messam. 133 yards, as you mentioned. Last time these two teams played, put them over 1,000 yards that game.
Last 10 games, the Argos have allowed an average of 130 yards a game on the ground, so Calgary going to work that with Messam again. Brought down in part by Sean Lemon, and Matt Black, the safety's injured, and he'll need attention.
Even though they blocked up first. You will see most of the starters in this one, including Tavares Daniels out at wide receiver and Kamar Jordan. You won't see Markway McDaniel, starter at the slot back position, who is out. Took a big hit against Montreal last week. And at right tackle, it's Randy Richards in for Dan Faderkyle, and Cam Thorne in at left guard.
So Matt Black gets attention. Jermaine Gabriel will come in. Take a look at what happened to the Argos veteran starting safety.
Yeah, I remember doing the game, Chris, against when these two teams played last couple weeks back, and seems to me Matt Black was the first guy to make contact in Messam in that game that night a bunch, which is bad news for your defense when your free safety is coming from 15 yards away and making the first hit on a running game in the running play.
Mentioned Messam with a 100-yard game against the Argo defense. There have been 17 100-yard games. Toronto has 2. Of the other 15, 6 have been against the Argos. So stopping the run has been an issue.
Yeah, 8th in the league, giving up 112 yards per game along the ground. Rich Stubler has that bend but don't break defensive philosophy for the Argos. They are good against the pass. In fact, lead the league. Under 300 yards passing in a year where 300-yard passing quarterbacks is commonplace, but when you get gutted in the run, it can be demoralizing. That's what happened the last time these two teams played. They've got to try and shore that up quickly here tonight.
So Gabriel for Black at the safety spot, 2nd and 3. First 2 plays, running plays to Messam. See if they stay on the ground. This time they fake to Messam and throw for the first down to Simon Charbonneau-Campo. And in 3 plays, the Stampeders inside the Argo 30-yard line.
Charbonneau-Campo will get more playing time because Markway McDaniel, as I mentioned, is going to sit this one out. Would probably have played if this was the playoff game, but opportunity for Charbonneau-Campo to make some plays tonight.
Go another Stampeder, first down. And again, Messam off the right side, and this time stacked up after a pickup of about 4 yards. As we set the Argo D.
Yeah, good news for them up front is Sean Lemon has getting after quarterbacks this year, tied with Charleston Hughes, the league lead in sacks at 14. The guy who has been good against the run has been Corey Greenwood, who leads their defense in defensive plays made this season. And there's your secondary. Already Matt Black nicked up. Jermaine Gabriel taking over for him at safety.
Defense has given up 543 rushing yards in the last 3 games. And here's the hitch to Lamar Durant inside, and he's dropped the football. Came loose. Calgary got back on it, but Durant stopped short of the first down, and the field goal unit will have to come on for the Stamps.
Real good close from the middle linebacker, Kyler Ellsworth. He doesn't get the tackle on Durant, but he closed and forced him back inside, so Ellsworth's teammates could get there. There goes the ball out, recovered by Calgary.
So Paredes 1 for 3 last week, attempting his 60th of the year, and it's his 52nd field goal of the year. Points on the opening drive for the Stampeders, and they have a 3-0 lead. Ricky Ray returning to the Argo lineup. He'll be at the controls when we return. So going down to the wire there. And Scott Milanovich needs some help from his friends in Ottawa. He's got his starting quarterback back, and here's Brandon Whitaker off the right side. He had -3 yards in 3 carries against Calgary a few weeks back, but a first down run of 11 to start this one.
Good start for Brandon Whitaker. He ranks 2nd in the league behind Jerome Messam for the rushing title this year. Almost 200 yards, or just less than 200 yards behind him, but is in 2nd place.
And now 134 yards away from 1,000 on the season. First down, Ray going to look downfield for Kenny Shaw, and he's on the money. Shaw with the catch, and another Argo first down at the 43-yard line. He's back.
Yeah, he's back, and he looks sharp. Good first throw, good recognition. Guy who's obviously so comfortable with the Scott Milanovich offense. 3 and 4 as a starter. Started the first 5 games of the season, Ricky Ray. And in the first 6, they won 4 of them. Off to a decent start, the Toronto Argonauts.
They had 53 first quarter yards last week. 33 on the first 2 plays here tonight. And he's going to throw again over the middle. Pass is incomplete. Intended for DeVere Posey.
Well, his #1 target, #1 receiver for the Argos this year has been Kenny Shaw. He's got Anthony Coombs, that extra receiver. Shaw will be his go-to guy. Deontay Spencer right behind him. We'll see a little of Posey on the outside, and then the offensive line, you got Chris Van Zyl, the veteran at right tackle. Both those tackles have to play great with a drop-back passer like Ray.
Sean McEwen, the Calgary product, getting rave reviews in his rookie season. 2nd and 10. A little bit of time. Pass is deflected into the hands of Devontae Spencer, and he's down inside the 5. Well, an Argo bounce, and there haven't been many of those in recent weeks for Toronto.
No, but what's more encouraging for Argo fans is the start of that quarterback in Ricky Ray. Looks sharp, recognizing things. He buys himself a little time, just moving just outside the pocket to his right. Ball just a little bit behind intended target.
Off the fingertips of Posey. Spencer on the tip. And it's 1st and goal for the Argos. Looking for their first lead in 5 games. Fake to Whitaker. Dumped it inside. Touchdown, Brandon Whitaker.
Drew Willie is nicked. Willie was 0-3 as a starter for the Argos. Ricky Ray comes off the 6-game injured list. Hurt twice this year. Has been healthy for a couple of weeks. And wow, did he look sharp. Again, great execution on that underneath. Basically a shovel play, but he threw it overhand.
Catch number 70 on the year for Whitaker. His 6th touchdown catch. Ricky Ray's 14th touchdown pass. And now Hiralahu has the convert. Different start to that of the first meeting between the Stampeders and the Argos. 5 plays, 75 yards, and a Toronto touchdown.
First lead for the Argos in a long, long time, a 4-game stretch. Coming in over 252 minutes without a lead. They got one now.
Driving kickoff, and from the goal line, here is Nixon. And he'll get pushed back. Even the cover team looks fired up, and I guess a quarterback can do that to the entire team, can he?
Oh, absolutely. Good start by Ray. And let's see if Bo Levi Mitchell has the answer. 2 good drives by both quarterbacks to open this game up.
Well, you know he'll be up for the challenge.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Bo Levi Mitchell 5-0 against the Argos. 13 touchdown passes, just 2 interceptions against the Double Blue. And a quick hitter into the hands of Kamar Jordan. Taken down quickly by Marcus Alford.
Really is quite amazing that this is start 51 for Bo Levi Mitchell, and he has not lost versus the Toronto Argonauts. Not one game. You mentioned 5-0.
Second and 6 after that pickup. 8 2-and-outs for the Stampeders last week. An effort that their head coach wasn't happy with. They'll try and get it on the ground and miss him. Going to come up short. And a 2-and-out here for Calgary.
Well, different start, though. Last week against Montreal, the Calgary offense, quite frankly, looked off their game a little bit. Sleepy start, if I could say it that way, for the Calgary offense. Now they regrouped. Dave Dickinson addressed it after the game. They regrouped to win that game against Montreal 22-8. But that's not the case tonight. Argos are pumped up. Good start for them.
Rob Mavern, number 2 in the league in punting, a 46-yarder. But here's Devontae Spencer trying to get outside. It's flushed back, and the cover team gets the job done. Led by Adam Tebow downfield. But the Argos scored on their first possession, capping the drive with that little toss inside to Brandon Whitaker.
Let's take another look at the touchdown by Brandon Whitaker. Watch Ricky Ray and the veteran look off Josh Bell, the safety. Play action here. Now he's going to look at Josh Bell. That pulls Bell to this side of the field and opens up Whitaker right underneath it. Overhand shovel pass. Touchdown by the veteran Ricky Ray. Well executed opening drive.
There's a holding call on that punt return. Argos start a little deeper. Back inside their 25. Whitaker getting stacked up after a short gain against this Calgary defense, number 1 in yards allowed this season.
Well, celebrated another win last week, but in the process lost one of their leaders in Deron Mayo, who's gone for the season. They'll also play with Shaquille Richardson for Joe Burnett, but it's Mayo that's gone for the remainder of the year. Glenn Love replaces him. There's the secondary intact from last week.
Second and 7. And Ray stands in, fires, incomplete. Spencer unable to hold on to that, and the Argos' first 2-and-out of the night.
Thought there was pretty good accuracy on the throw from Ray, who, even though he's played less than the starters who have gone the distance this year, still leads the league in completion percentage. Laid it out there for Deontay Spencer.
Lahu to punt. Drives Nixon back about 5 extra yards, 55-yarder. Here's Nixon trying to get outside, and he gets tracked down by Kyler Ellsworth, the middle linebacker, with another special team tackle.
Now he's breaking records. Bo Levi Mitchell, unbeaten streak. Mentioned his win-loss record after 50 games. He gets the start tonight, so he wants to keep this going. 14-0-1 consecutive starts.
He has set standards for unbeaten and consecutive wins by a quarterback. In trouble here, and the pass falls incomplete. Pressure was on from Eric Martin, a newcomer out of Nebraska who had a game or two in Winnipeg earlier this year.
Take a look. He's going to work on Randy Richards. I mentioned Dan Faderkyle is dressed tonight, but not starting at tackle. Randy Richards will get a test from Sean Lemon and the boys up front.
2nd and 10. Pressure on again. Ducking out of there and getting it away. It's Anthony Parker, who didn't have a catch 11 days ago in Toronto, but has a big one here for 21 and a first down.
One of the reasons that Dave Dickinson is comfortable starting Bo Levi Mitchell, even though they've locked up first place in the division, is that Bo knows how to protect himself and escape trouble. I mean, he does this better than any quarterback in the league. Just buys himself time. Nice little spin move out of the pocket there. Got him outside, and he finds Anthony Parker.
So first down at the Argo 52. Fake inside and a slant pattern complete. DeMar Jordan has the catch. And it looks like he's got another Stamps first down.
Get to that wide field. There's 4 receivers to that side. And right in that middle on the play action. Quick little slant route. Inside of Thomas Gordon.
Jordan had 117 in his first meeting against Toronto. Set up the screen here. Torrey Harrison gets buried at the 40, which was the line of scrimmage, and Eric Martin has been active. He goes on defense.
He has, but I'm already, taking a look at this offense for Calgary early in this one. Keep in mind, last week against Montreal, Bo was sacked 4 times. I mean, it's been 18 all season, 14 after 15 games. Going into last week, sacked 4 times. The Argo D-line is getting some penetration. They're getting up the field. He has to escape a couple of times already in this game.
2nd and 10. Argo's offside. Free play. Taking a shot. Incomplete. Intended for Nixon on the post.
Dave Dickinson does not want the front runner in a big way for MOP in the league to take too many hits tonight.
Offside. Toronto number 93. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Mentioned Martin was active. He was too active that time. Ahead of the snap.
Yeah, free play got caught in the hard count from Mitchell.
Ricky Foley missing another game with a foot injury. So 2nd and 5. Harrison in the backfield. Quickly to Durant. It's a first down. Bumped out by Devin Smith. Durant without a catch last week, but a pair in the first quarter against Toronto.
You need 5, go to 7, make your break just past that first down marker, so when you come back a half a step, you're still a yard beyond the chains and you get a new set of downs.
In that stuttered count, but this time it's early movement on the Stampeder line.
Procedure. Calgary number 68. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Well, guys like Lamar Durant and Anthony Parker should see the ball a little bit more tonight with Marquay McDaniel out of the lineup tonight. Marquay McDaniel, the go-to guy for Bo Levi Mitchell, especially on 2nd down, leads the team and was in the top 5 in the league 2nd down catches.
Cam Thorne making his 3rd start of the year at left guard in place of the injured Shane Berkman tonight. And it's 1st and 15. They'll reset the clock. Last week, only 315 yards of offense against Montreal. The previous 4 games, 5 of the 6 prior to that, well over 400, which is the norm for Calgary. So 1st and 15 in the draw play. And it's Harrison down to the 30. Corey Greenwood has had a terrific year, leads the Argos in tackles with 58.
Playing that middle linebacker spot in this defensive set. Just scrapes to the ball, makes a nice tackle on the draw. 9 tackles last week against Saskatchewan for Corey Greenwood.
Yeah, those numbers would be way higher if he hadn't missed 6 with a knee injury. So 2nd and long, here comes Heat. Mitchell throws as he was running and almost intercepted Devin Smith, closest man to the football. And once again, the Argo defense stiffens and the field goal unit comes on.
Well, double safety look. Matt Black's back in the game at free safety. Jermaine Gabriel, who is normally a safety and in for Black. Mitchell doesn't recognize him playing up in the linebacking spot, and he shoots the B-gap. That flushes Mitchell out of the pocket. And he has to just try and throw it into an open area.
Lay off the center's head.
So from 37 out, Paredes has his 2nd of the night. And it's a 1-point Argo lead. Ricky Ray gets set to return. We'll have more on the veteran quarterback from Jermaine Franklin when we return.
It'll be 8. I really like that play call.
Chris, Ricky Ray told me prior to the game that when his playing career is all said and done, he wouldn't mind joining the coaching ranks. Now, Ray as a player in more recent years has spent much too much time on the sideline to his liking, and it's all been due to injury. But that time has given him a chance to see the game from a different perspective, an aspect of the game where he believes that he would enjoy it and excel at it. Now, we all know that Ricky Ray is one of the best at executing a game plan, so there should be little doubt that he has the ability to create a great game plan as well. And we also know, gentlemen, that Ricky Ray wouldn't be the first elite quarterback from his generation to join the coaching ranks.
No, he just has to look to the other sidelines to see what Dave Dickinson's done. Incompletion on that pass intended for Brian Jones. Broken up by Deontay Evans.
2 similar guys there, 2 guys who understand the game. Cerebral quarterbacks that can break down the defense, read the coverage.
Got to keep those guys in the game. 2nd and 10. Pressure was on, and he hurried the throw and took a hit at the end from Derek Wigan. So back-to-back 2 and outs for the Argo offense after that quick start.
Like Alex Singleton went on a blitz, and he was picked up on that blitz by Brandon Whitaker. Just got enough of him to push him past Ray, and then Ray gets hit. Couldn't find an open receiver in time.
Flags are still shouldn't really be an advantage for either side here tonight. Another good kick by Hairolahu, 53-yarder. And a flag down on that return by Nixon up to the 40.
Boy, this is a trend too. The former quarterbacks that become coaches start in as quarterback coaches. Sometimes in Dave Dickinson's case, he was a running back coach, moved up, became a coordinator, moved up from there. First year as a head coach, the former quarterback.
Illegal block. Calgary number 43. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
That's the best record in CFL history. 14 wins with a couple more up for grabs for Dave Dickinson. And again, I think there's a real comparison to be made between he and Ricky Ray. John Huffnagel, also a former quarterback that preceded Dave Dickinson and came back to Canada in 2008 here in Calgary.
Max Carana, young linebacker out of Concordia. called for the illegal block, and that backs up the Stampeders. They go back on the ground, and there's Jerome Messam, who started things off in the first quarter with a big run. And that's the end of the opening quarter of play. And the Bushnick Argos have a 1-point lead on the touchdown to Brandon Whitaker. Rich Stubler's defense makes Calgary settle for 2 field goals, and Devon Claybrook's defense dug in after that opening touchdown drive by Toronto.
Yeah, take a look at the 64 passing yards for the Toronto Argonauts. That was all in the first drive. Ricky Ray looked sharp coming off that 6-game injured list. And I mentioned it off the top, but in the 16 games that Calgary has played, 13 of them they've had the lead after the first quarter, sometimes a pretty good lead. This game they don't. That's something they're not used to.
And they had 35 points in the first half back on October the 10th. So it's obviously a different game, but did Claybrooks change the way he handled defensively Ricky Ray after the first drive?
Yeah, absolutely. They started sending a little bit more pressure, which forced Toronto and Ray offensively to bring in more protection. What that does is it takes a couple of receivers out of the pass routes.
2nd and 6. For the Stamps, a lot of time for Mitchell and an open receiver. It's Tavares Daniels up over midfield. What a season he's having as he closes in on 800 receiving yards, on pace for 1,359. We've got an injured Stampeder, and that's something Dave Dickinson doesn't want to hear tonight.
Boy, the anticipation on that throw from Mitchell to Daniels, just outstanding. Let's take a look. It looks like it's Pierre Lavertu who went down. He's your center. And officials immediately calling for the sideline from the Calgary Stampeders. Gets to see his teammate rolled into him, Derek Dennis.
Just his 8th game of the year. So he's battled injuries. Many of the Stamps on the offensive line have. In fact, they've had 9 different starters this season. Lavertu in obvious pain. So they'll have to make adjustments. Spencer Wilson will likely have to move back to center, where he has played at times this year, and they're going to need a cart, it would appear, for the big guy out of Laval. And Quinn Smith may have to return to duty on the offensive line. He'd be their 10th offensive lineman. Home field in the Western semifinal rages on.
Well, it's been a tough year for Pierre Lavertu.
So Brad Erdos comes into the game. Actually, Cam Thorne will move to center. Messam straight ahead. Another huge hole. Off and running again as he slices his way down to the 30.
Well, I don't envy Aaron Berry. He's the corner that after Jerome Messam had all that momentum, changes in the O-line, and what does Dave Dickinson do? He calls a running play to let the O-line, with their changes, Cam Thorne playing center, comes up and he gets the middle linebacker, Kyler Ellsworth, but he lets the O-line drive off on their first play, and that's a truck coming downfield on Aaron Berry.
Truck has 73 yards, and he didn't even play the second series of the game. Look at him rip it up again. Putting that Toronto defense into the meat grinder. 15 more for Messam, who, as we mentioned on the first carry tonight, set a new personal best for a season.
Going over that left side. Gets a nice block there from Spencer Wilson. That's how you let an O-line who's just had to go through a couple of changes due to injury. Let him settle in. Go ahead and run block.
88 for Messam in the first half. This time they fake it to him. Toss complete. Jordan down to the 1. Matt Black with the touchdown saving hit.
2 big running plays in a row forces play action. You have to go and react to Jerome Messam defensively after those 2 big runs from Messam. That's what Ellsworth did. Got out of the throwing lane, and Bo Levi Mitchell throws it right in behind those linebackers.
Andrew Buckley checks in. 1 touchdown away from a chance to tie a CFL record. He drops the football in trouble, and it's batted away. It'll be ruled an incompletion, and Buckley did well to at least avoid a big loss of yardage.
Well, it was a heads-up play, first of all, by Andrew Buckley, because after he fumbles with the snap, and now he's just trying to not take the loss, but he also got lucky. I mean, he was trying to throw it away, but if that ball tips up and not down, the Argos are going the other way with it.
Record for touchdowns by a Canadian quarterback is 8. Russ Jackson did that in 1962, and Andrew Buckley has just tied it.
Couple running plays over that left side, including this one. Good push by Spencer Wilson. Left tackle Derek Dennis.
So Buckley the touchdown, and they'll go for 2 as they often do. 11 of 20 on the season on these 2-point tries. Mitchell comes back in. Other game remains tied, under a minute to go in Ottawa. Fake to Messam. It'll be Durant for 2. Seven-point lead for the Stampeders. Argos still haven't found a way to stop the go trade. Jerome Messam plowing his way to another 100-yard game against Toronto. Join us at halftime for the GMC Precision Playbook. Tonight's suit shows us how quarterbacks manage the pocket. Bo Levi Mitchell shows you that.
Yeah, this is on basically Precision Playbook on Bo Levi Mitchell. Best in the business at it. Lots of quarterbacks can do it, but I think the best in the game is Mitchell.
And no matter how many changes on that offensive line, those guys help set a pretty good pocket for number 19.
Well, and opened up holes in that last drive to Jerome Messam.
7 plays, a 90-yard touchdown drive. Devin Wiley on the return for the Argos, and he's unable to reach the 30-yard line. Dexter Janke led the surge downfield for Calgary.
Yeah, I think it looks like Calgary may be alternating between Messam and Harrison. It was Messam's turn, and he took full advantage. A couple big runs in that drive for Messam. That opens up play action to throw in behind those running plays, and then Buckley finishes it off the left side of the old line. Again, Spencer Wilson, an all-star up front.
Messam 7 of 88, and when he's not carrying it, he's been a fixture in that play-action fake. Penalty down as Brandon Whitaker is dropped close to the 40-yard line. It would be a first down for Toronto. Looks like another injured Stampeder. Priority 1 is to win. Priority 2 is to get out of here unscathed in the injury department, but we've seen Lavert 2 fall, and now it's Jamar Wall, 5-year veteran at defensive half.
Offside, 95 Calgary. That penalty be declined, first down.
So Jaggerett Davis offside. He had a huge game in Toronto, and Wall under his own steam.
Yeah, he
heads to the sidelines. That's good news.
Looks like he'll be okay. He actually jogged to the sideline. He'll have to sit out 3 plays. Training staff came out to get him.
First down, and they hand off to Whitaker, trying to get outside, and with some extra effort, is able to get over the 40 for 4 yards as we rejoin Jermaine Franklin.
Thanks, Chris. Yes, Pierre Lavertu has an injury to his left ankle, and it doesn't look good. He was in tears, and you know it's not just about the injury. It's about continuing to be a part of this team. We saw the exact same sort of reaction with the middle linebacker, Duron Mayo, last week. He is carted to the dressing room. He is not likely to return, and we'll see about the rest of the season.
Yeah, I had the same thought, the emotion of not just the injury, but being taken away from this magical season. There is a completion for short yardage. Osagi Odiasi came into the game in place of the injured Jamar Wall and put a quick stop on that play. 5 yards for Brian Jones and 3rd and a yard, and the Argos are going to go for it.
Bring in short yardage. Ricky Ray will sit this one out, this play.
Dan Lefevre comes in. Argos 18 of 21 on 3rd and short. And I'm not sure. Didn't look like he got it. Depends on where forward progress is given, and it.
I got the spot.
Lefevre gets up. I think he was looking for a face mask call. It looked like somebody might have grabbed the grill.
Yeah, it looked like it was Odiasi. Looked like it was Odiasi, Chris, going up over the top.
It's going to require a measurement, but boy, it didn't look like he got a good push. Didn't get it. Doesn't get much closer.
Take a look. Here's Lefevre going off that right side. Number 32, Odiasi, over the top. Did he grab the face mask, and was it missed? Back of the helmet anyway.
So it is being challenged by the Argos.
Toronto is challenging the spot of the ball. We'll review the play.
They're going to challenge the spot, which is interesting. Odiasi, who came in, makes the play. We'll see if it stands. We'll get the challenge result when we come back. So back at McMahon, awaiting the verdict on a challenge of the spot on that unsuccessful 3rd down gamble by Scott Milanovic and Dan Lefevre.
And Dan Lefevre doesn't have the protection of the pocket like a quarterback throwing the ball does.
Toronto will be charged their first timeout.
So they challenged the spot of the football. Awful tough to change that. I don't think I've seen one yet that's challenged on a short yardage on the spot of the football that's been overturned. I think Scott Milanovic wanted to see if that high tackle would be discovered as a penalty, and he can't.
I think the only time we've ever seen it is when a guy sweeps outside and there's not a lot of traffic to determine the spot of the football, but rarely is it reset. Here's Mitchell stepping up, managing the pocket, escaping, and then just throwing it away because nothing was available.
I was going to say, and it's heartbreaking when you see guys like Pierre Lavertu and Duron Mayo go down. This team has first place locked up. Dave Dickinson has a balancing act here that he's got to go through over those last couple of games, and he's got to play his starters, the majority of those starters. I mean, the rosters are just not big enough to go with backups the rest of the way. The one guy that is different in that regard is his starting quarterback, Bo Levi Mitchell. So it'll be interesting to see how long he stays in this one.
2nd and 10. Dumped out to Messam. Tripped up. Jermaine Gabriel steps up and holds Messam short of the first down.
It's a good tackle. It's a good tackle by Jermaine Gabriel. Something he's become known for is his open field tackling, and he's one of the best in the business at it. He's had an injury-plagued season as well, but when he's healthy,
one of the great free safeties in the league, and he comes up and holds Jerome Messam short. We haven't said that much even tonight, let alone all year.
So Paredes comes on, attempting a 48-yarder. 2 for 2 tonight. Closing in on the top 20 all time, and he got another. Now within 4 points of being in the top 20 all time, the CFL scoring list. And now a 10-point Calgary lead.
Bring on the people.
Tackle Hunger Night, sponsored by Pure Later, as the fans here in Calgary bring supplies to help bolster the food banks and help support a terrific cause. Pure Later Tackle Hunger Night, and they want a few chances this year to pose with the Grey Cup. Ray back in, he'll loft it to the fullback, and catch is made. Ball popped loose as Alexandre Dupuis couldn't hang on, and they're ruling he was down. See if we get a challenge from Calgary. Argos just turned it over on downs, and very close to turning it over once again. Looks like he was down.
Yeah, certainly from that angle. Let's take a look. Might see the ball a little bit better here.
Glenn Love, the tackle, taking the spot of the injured Duran Mayo.
And Dave Dickinson's thinking about it. He's got the challenge flag in his hand, but will not throw it.
2nd and 3, no challenge. Ray, quick hitter, Kenny Shaw has a first down. Up at the 50. Let's get an update. Here's Rod Smith.
Well, Chris, we are in overtime in Ottawa, tied at 33. Hamilton, a short field goal for Brett Maher in their first OT possession. So Ottawa, trailing by 3, has their overtime possession now.
And the Argos need a red-black touchdown to maintain their faint hope. I believe that's the 8th overtime of the year, which would match an all-time high. Deontay Evans cutting down Deontay Spencer on that first down catch.
One thing Scott Milanovic can do here is remind his receivers, running backs, and maybe even Ricky Ray, the veteran, that make sure ball protection is something you're conscious of here. You got to make sure. I've seen a couple times now a bit of sloppy ball handling. Got away with it.
Dury in motion. Ray steps up, throws over the middle, and it's picked off. Deontay Evans has his second interception. Thought Ricky Ray might take off with that. Instead, off the fingertips of his receiver and into the hands of second-year man Deontay Evans.
Well, let's take a look at what Ricky Ray saw. This is basically his angle. You see the opening. That's why he steps up in the pocket. Couple of linebackers back there in that linebacking core, and that was Glenn Love on the big hit on DeVere Posey. Ball bounces up, and Deontay Evans has his second.
First interception, key to comeback against BC earlier this year. And now back-to-back takeaways by the Calgary defense. Second in takeaways in the league, behind only the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Messam again. And he'll get across midfield, and we'll head back to Rod with a further update in overtime.
It came down to a 45-yard field goal try by Chris Milo, Chris, to tie it up, and he barely gets it inside. So second overtime, Ottawa with first possession in that second OT.
Oh, you had us hanging there. Well done, Rod.
Well done. I would say, did he miss?
Boy, they didn't get much done if they were attempting a 45-yarder.
Second and short. Fake to Messam. See if that freezes the Argos to go deep. And it's well over the head of Kamar Jordan, incomplete.
Well, I mentioned in that first couple of drives, Toronto was getting some pressure from their front four on Mitchell. He was having to escape. But that has disappeared, and keep in mind, Pierre Lavertu, the starting center for Calgary, is out. They've had to make 2 changes because of that. Watch all day that Bo Levi Mitchell has to sit in that pocket and launch this one. Really only had 1 receiver that far down the field. He was the only target, Kamar Jordan.
Didn't have a big play reception last week and have not had one in the first half yet against the Argos. Maver to punt, looking to pin, or now they're going to fake it, and they're going to get stopped short. And now the Argos have turned it over on downs. James Juracek, captain of that special teams, not fooled by a gamble from the Stampeders.
Yeah, called play, but it looked like not everyone for Calgary may have got the call because there was no kick-out block. That play was designed to go to Cote, and he was supposed to take it wide to the right side of their formation, but it was cut off immediately.
That looked like Devin Wiley stepped up to force him back inside, and that's a big takeaway for Toronto. So the Argos have it at midfield, trailing by 10 with under 3.5 to go here in the opening half. Brandon Whitaker, midfield for 2. Brought down quickly by Shaq Richardson. Taking the spot of Joe Burnett tonight. 1 more play before the warning. Second and 8. Pocket collapses, got it away, and Kenny Shaw has an Argo first down. Just inside the Calgary 45. As they give the 3-minute warning to the benches. Ray on target to the leading receiver for the Argos this season, Kenny Shaw, with a catch at a first down. Well, regardless what happens now, the Argos season will end without a postseason berth. The Hamilton Ticats took care of that with an overtime 39-36 victory just moments ago. Scenario was highly unlikely in any event, but it has been taken care of by the Ticats tonight. Ball dropped. Whitaker picked it up, and he gets dropped back at the 50-yard line. It's a loss of 6.
Wonder if Chris Van Zyl just heard the score in the Hamilton-Ottawa game, and obviously not. But the bottom line being, you're right, Chris, the Argos will not make the postseason this year. They don't know that right now.
And the race for first is still on in the East, as those 2 teams are separated by 1 point.
And there will be a Western crossover. Which team crosses over is still to be determined.
So 2nd and 16, maybe a free play. Calgary was offside. Ray steps up, throws, and it's caught, and that'll be a first down. No, they're gonna rule incomplete or not. Wait and get a ruling. Deontay Spencer. They are marking it as a catch.
Marking it as a catch, and it's like they're
Jagarrett Davis offside.
So one Calgary rusher go down.
Calgary number 95. Illegal forward pass. Toronto number 15. We'll bounce those at the previous line of scrimmage, and we'll repeat second down.
Okay, Ricky Ray crossed the line of scrimmage. And that takes it back to midfield.
All started on the 49-yard line, or halfway between there and the 50. Ray steps up.
And by a yard. Was over the line, so second and longer. Throwing, and Spencer can't hold on. That was on the money.
Oh, was it ever. And Ricky Ray knew exactly what he wanted. He got the coverage he wanted with the secondary for Calgary dropping off in a zone. Deontay Spencer ran the route nicely. Just one element of this play missing, and that's to secure the catch. You saw Spencer's eyes go right to Josh Bell, the safety. He was looking to brace himself for the hit and didn't hang on to the ball.
Boy, those safeties are intimidating, aren't they? Ball bouncing down. Nixon a little casual with that. But looks like he was able to induce a no yards penalty. 40-yard punt.
Illegal participation, Calgary number 80. 10-yard penalty, first down.
He stepped out of bounds and then came back in to play the ball. So it was the penalty actually against Nixon, who was a little confused by the play, didn't he?
Well, he didn't know that he stepped out. Like, he is right here. And watch how he comes to the sideline. Now the ball's on the ground. He hasn't touched it. Now he touched it with his toe, but he steps out here, that right foot, and now comes in again and can't play the ball. Once you step out on your own, you're no longer eligible to play the ball.
Just his second game, replacing the injured Roy Finch, who I think you could make an argument, and there's Chris Rainey and there's Brandon Banks, but consistently dangerous Roy Finch, as good as anybody this season in kick returns. In fact, the Stampeders have had 16 big kick returns this year.
After review from the video official, there is no illegal part on the play. It'll be first down from the 15-yard line.
I'm a little confused.
No illegal part. We saw the foot out of bounds. Oh, that's what they're well, I see what they're saying now, Chris. He was out of bounds when he touched the ball. They're saying he had possession of it, so he's out of bounds right there at the spot. Dead ball.
Okay. Glad we got that sorted out. Lamar Durant's got a catch.
It was basically between, was he touching it and had possession when he stepped out, or did he step out and then grab it and touch it and have possession? If he did it the latter, he's still not sure.
I was going to say, he looks as confused as I am.
But the ruling that he had possession of the ball with his foot out of bounds, so that's where it's marked. And we got a 2nd and 5.
80 seconds remaining, first half. Argo D looking for a stop, and movement ahead of the snap. Looked like it's on the Calgary offensive line.
Calgary number 59. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
And it was Randy Richards in his fourth start at right tackle.
Trying to get inside leverage and move just a half step too early.
So 2nd and 10. Mitchell gets it away quickly. And is the pass caught? Incomplete. The punt team will have to come on, and Argos are going to get the ball back to get a chance to cut into this lead before the end of the half. That's the 4th 2 and out by the Stamps in the first half. And as you can see, the ball off the turf and up into the hands of Durant.
Well, Lamar Durant sat right in that open area too, in the just a one hopper. Mitchell kind of leaning away from that throw.
Spencer awaits around the Argo 50.
Mitchell doesn't miss many of those.
Good boot by the Brampton product. Spencer faked the reverse and finds a room down the sideline, and Maver has to make the tackle inside the 35. Deontay Spencer had a couple of big returns last week. And he gets 38 on that return to set up Ricky Ray.
Yeah, and makes up for looking at the safety, Josh Bell, on that seam route. This is a good hard run. He gets down the sideline, and then that's a big tackle by Maver. He may be still running.
Glenn Love, one of the leaders on that special teams group, but not on it as he moves into Duron Mayo's starting defensive position. And here's Ray, corner route, looking for Shaw, and he's got it down at the 3.
Well, Ricky Ray is going to appreciate the effort made by Kenny Shaw at the top of this route, because Ray's going to take a hit throwing that corner route, and that pressure coming off the edge, that just throws off his accuracy a little bit and lays it out to the sideline. Shaw gets underneath it. Charleston Hughes comes all the way around, goes right down the middle, and puts a pretty big hit on Ricky Ray.
Gonna say that's his trademark throw. Not a perfect one, but there was a reason. Into the end zone and incomplete. Wanted Spencer working against Shamar Wall.
I'm gonna go back to that Kenny Shaw catch. That's a big one, because you're right on the accuracy of the throws from Ricky Ray. Kenny Shaw is the 2 receiver to the 3 receiver side. He's number 2 right down the hash mark. Now, accuracy-wise, Ray is usually putting that one right on the money. He has outside leverage. Shaw had to go get that one. That was a big catch.
Second and goal from the 3. Here comes Heat. Got it away, but incomplete and almost intercepted by Josh Bell. Boy, that brought back memories of Labor Day when they had the lead and were going in to score again, and he threw one like that for an interception, and it's been downhill for the Argos ever since.
Well, that's back-to-back plays. Jamal Wall almost picked the throw on first down on the 3-yard line, and then that last play was almost picked off as well.
Gonna get a challenge, though, from Scott Milanovich.
Josh Bell looked like he was in better position. I'm wondering if Scott Milanovich saw an illegal contact that got him there.
Toronto is challenging. There was illegal contact on number 85. We'll review the play.
He might win this one. You know, I was wondering why Josh Bell was in such good position. There's Deontay Spencer here. And that's not a slight on Josh Bell. He's been one of the top safeties in the league this year. But in a man-to-man situation, it's unusual to see him that high. And you saw the contact past 5 yards on Spencer as he tried to go into that seam. Now the question is, was it just incidental? Deontay Spencer running into Bell, contacting and rerouting Deontay Spencer. We'll see what the replay official, what his interpretation is. But there's definitely contact rerouting Spencer.
And beyond 5 yards.
That's right.
Didn't seem like much, but it is the intended target, and we've seen this call made frequently this season, so.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Toronto will be charged with their second timeout.
Scott Milanovich doesn't like it, but the interpretation here is that Deontay Spencer has got to avoid the contact as well. He can't just go and try and run into or run over a defensive back trying to cover him. We've seen that go the other way a couple times this year, more than once, more than twice.
Wonder if he would have tried to continue through the route, whether they might have given him the call, but it looked like he curled back as soon as there was contact.
Yeah, I question that one, and I'm almost leaning towards Scott Milanovich on this, Chris, because that was a move made by Spencer. He made an outside head fake to the right and then tried to cut inside. Let's take a look one more time. I mean, this is Spencer. Watch him. He's got inside route there. Now he goes outside. Now he's trying to cut back, and he's not allowed to cut back by Josh Bell. I mean, that's rerouting him, and that's past 5 yards. For the most part, I've seen that go the other way all season long. but not this time.
Josh Bell, our new leader in war paint.
That's become a thing for this Calgary Stampeder team.
It has. He's the leader of that department. And Brian Hall looking for a souvenir down there. They'll take one more knee and
do we see Bo Levi Mitchell in the second half?
from everything Dave Dickinson indicated, as long as the game was in the balance, we would. And it's certainly a closer game than it was a couple of weeks back. 17-10, Calgary with the lead. Halftime, here's Rod Smith.
Bottom line, Chris Cuthbert, is this. The Argos are making a game of it in Calgary, but in terms of any playoff hopes, it no longer matters. Here's the panel of Jock, Milt, and Schultze. And the drama in Hamilton in Ottawa. We'll talk about that in a second. But what do you think? You know, the Argos are heading in there now. They're closer, within a touchdown in Calgary, finding out, hey, you know, guys, it's over.
I was trying to think if I've ever seen this kind of a situation where, because for the first time that I can remember, we've got two overlapping games. Mm-hmm. In the CFL. That just doesn't happen. And so these guys are going to go into the locker room. Some of the guys will probably check their phones.
All of them. All of them, not some.
And then they'll have to decide whether they're going to share that with their teammates, or do they go to the coach and say, "What do you think?" That's just a situation I've never heard of before. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys are going to come out of the locker room. Their whole world's changed. It's now off-season time.
All of them, they know what's going on. They know they don't have a shot to make the playoffs. And now you start thinking about the past year. You know, I mean, this year, what happened in the past? You know, could we have played better? Could we have won this game? Could that have made a play to make a difference so we would be in the playoff hunt? But you just have to keep your focus on this game and let whatever happens, happens.
No, it's a total odd set of circumstances because it'll just take one guy, one player to pick up his cell phone or whatever device that they have and go, oh, my gosh. And then everybody's going to look over their shoulders and say, well, you know something I don't know. Tell me what is going on. And when they do find out that they are no longer a playoff team, it does change your mentality. It emotionally suppresses you. So we'll see how they respond in the second half.
Yeah, true enough, although their chances, let's face it, heading in were slim to none anyway.
Still a chance.
But, I mean, not many of us saw there was a chance, there isn't now. Not many saw this comeback by Hamilton, though. At one point, it was 27-12. Credit Mazzoli and company. I mean, they kept coming back, and Henry Burris, the fumble in overtime, ended up really sealing the deal for the Ticats.
Yeah, the fumble in overtime, and there's also that fumble on the goal line. It wasn't Henry Burris' fault, but it was a crucial fumble on the goal line. It was a little slippery, it was a little wet. And that one in overtime by John Chick, this is a great play. Schultze, you talk about the young offensive lineman trying to block John Chick. Well, that's what happens. And John Chick didn't go for Henry Burris, he went straight for the ball.
You know what it was? Jason Lazan-Seguin is going to be a really good young player, but remember they lost Sir Vincent Rogers, who is their normal left tackle. So Orlando Steinauer knows that. So what does he do? He takes Chick, who usually plays on the left of the defense, flips him over to the right of the defense. So you've got your best pass rusher on Ottawa's most inexperienced pass blocker. It was a good move by Steinauer and made the difference in the game. Very smart.
And the other thing that was critical in overtime for Ottawa was that they lost yards on both first downs.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
So now you are in second and more than 10. Henry is hanging on to the ball longer. Mm-hmm. He's got your play calling options shrink. And that's what happened there to the Red Blacks is terrible first down production in overtime. That's a couple of overtime now that they have not done well. And I don't know what it's about this football team. This was a glorious opportunity. Yeah. As you look forward now and look at what these two teams have going down the stretch, it is far from a foregone conclusion that the Red Blacks will be finishing first in the East.
Right.
Well,
and they were this close to sealing it tonight.
To getting it done. It's too bad for Burris, too. He had such a great night, but they have only a 1-point lead on the Ticats now, each with 2 games to go. And the Ticats are in the playoffs. The Alouettes and the Argos are out. We'll have more coming up. The CFL on TSN.
All the way, Stabs, all the way! Woo!
Let's go, TSN.
The Argos looking for their first lead in 5 games. Dumped it inside. Touchdown. Messam straight ahead. Another huge hole. Argos still haven't found a way to stop the go train.
37 yards for Ricky Ray in his return in the first half. Not bad. But how about this? 100 yards rushing by the Calgary Stampeders. Most of that to Jerome Messam, who's having another whale of a ball game.
He is, and who is standing by now with Jermaine Franklin.
Jerome, a very successful first half rushing for you, 96 yards on 8 carries. Can you talk a little bit about the success that you had?
The offensive line just opened up big holes. You know, their defense is they're not really playing their gap integrity, so we're just taking what they give us.
In terms of the second half, what needs to occur for this team to continue to put points on the board?
We got to come out here and execute. You know, we're not doing enough. Game's too close. You know, that's a little bit of us, you know, playing down to their level. We got to play Stampeder football and come out and execute.
You told me earlier this week that this was the best offensive line you've run behind. How tough is it to see Pierre Lavertu go down like that?
It sucks, man. He's had a tough year battling through injuries, and I'm just praying for him, man. I just hope he can get healthy.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys.
The Stampeders are chasing perfection at home this season. They're also chasing a record of 15-1-1, halfway there, a 7-point lead, 17-10 over the Toronto Argonauts. The second half kickoff is coming up here on Friday Night Football.
7-point lead for the home side, looking to go perfect at home this year. Argos have other plans, and Ricky Ray is standing by with Jermaine Franklin.
Ricky, you missed the last 6 weeks, but you wouldn't be able to tell the way you played in that first half. How would you assess your return?
Well, we're doing some good things. We missed a couple opportunities out there. We just got to try and capitalize, try and score touchdowns. You know, we had it down there close and came away with the field goal. We got to get a touchdown there.
What are some of the keys that need to occur to turn those field goals into 7 points?
Yeah, we just got to execute a little bit better. You know, we got to just seize that moment and make those plays, and it comes down to just executing.
Thanks, Ricky.
Thank you.
Well, they've been a better team with Ricky Ray at the controls. Talked about the missed opportunities.
Dave Dickinson talking to Drew Tate, the backup quarterback, who still has his warm-up jacket on. Looks like it'll be Bo Levi Mitchell to start the second half anyway.
Argos get the ball first. Anthony Coombs with the return, bumps it outside, and still going across midfield. So a good return by Coombs. They had a big punt return in the first half, and that sets up Ray in the offense.
A third year for Anthony Coombs, and, you know, quite frankly, it's time that Anthony Coombs steps up and takes it up another notch. This is a good start. I mean, and I'm talking about now the finish of this regular season and then into next year. They need him to be a playmaker, whether it be on the teams or offensively. I know he's had some injury issues. That's a 42-yard return out of the gate.
Yeah, that's the longest kickoff return by the Argos this season. And a play-action fake. Ray throws, wide open receiver. It's DeVere Posey down at the 25-yard line. Alex Singleton, the middle linebacker, the tackle, but it's 28. Ray to Posey.
Ricky Ray with the progressions and dropping back. Great understanding with this offense. It's a look here. It's a look here. And then he's going to take it and get it to DeVere Posey over the middle. Need time to do it, and he had it.
First down at the 25. Ray stands in, dumps it off, and the catch made by Alexandre Dupuis, the fullback. Second catch of the night for him.
Now 15 years in the league, and Ricky Ray, he wants to finish some drives, and they got to execute down in this part of the field. That's what he said to our Jermaine Franklin. But 77 times in his career, over 300 yards passing. Fourth-ranked passer in CFL history.
2nd and 5. Big rush. He steps up, got away, and has a completion and a first down. Shaw with the catch. Down inside the 10.
Precision playbook at halftime. If you watched our halftime show, I explained about managing the pocket. Let's watch Ricky Ray do it to perfection. Sometimes it's stepping up, letting the defensive ends go down and past you. Stepping up and buying yourself an extra time. Subtle little movements in the pocket to avoid that rush, allow your receiver to get open, and he hits his target on the sideline.
Getting Shaw's 5th catch of the night, 80 yards. Now well over 900 on the season. 1st and goal. Whitaker releases. Ray in trouble. And he'll go down. Dropped by Charleston Hughes with a league-leading 15th sack.
Looked like they had some extra protection help over here. Here's some extra protection help to try and stop number 39 off the edge, but they run to the opposite side with him. That leaves a one-on-one with Greg Van Roten, and Charleston Hughes, like he's done all year, gets home.
First sack of the night, 62nd for Hughes in the last 5 years, 87th overall. Second and goal. Pass is caught by Whitaker, but Richardson drops him back at the original line of scrimmage. And again, the Argos will have to settle for a three-point attempt when they were inside the 10.
Well, Brandon Whitaker scores here if not for Richardson's tackle from behind. And it looked like he played the ball, gambled underneath, and tried to go for the ball. And oftentimes we see defensive players miss the ball and then miss the tackle. Not that time.
Another chip shot for Hiralahu. Out of the hold of Logan Kilgore. And it's a 4-point Calgary lead. Shy of the 4-minute mark here in the third quarter. Dominant player in the first half offensively. Big Jerome Messam looking like he's en route to his 5th 100-yard game of the year. That's not Jerome Messam. That's
but if you tackle that, it'd feel about the same, I think.
Mitchell to the air, looking for Campo. Charbonneau Campo's got the catch. And there's the first big play reception in 2 games.
Well, 2 things here. One, the timing on the throw, the anticipation to throw it to the spot and let Campo go get it. The other is that Charbonneau reaches back to the football. Even though it's a post route down the field, he reaches back and doesn't wait for it to get to his shoulder pads. That's good receiver play at the top end.
34-yard pickup and a first down. And a pump from Mitchell. Hickman in pursuit. And is it intercepted? No. With the shot on the football was Aaron Berry on the corner. Unable to come up with it.
That's Joe West back in the lineup, I believe, out there at that wide receiver spot. And Bo Levi Mitchell wants to talk to him about what exactly happened there, because it didn't look like West even saw the ball or thought for a second that he was an intended target, and you could see the reaction.
Yeah, by the time West turned around, the ball was hitting the hands of Berry. So 2nd and 10. Pocket collapses. Mitchell wide open. He's got it. Touchdown. Tavares Daniels.
Just like that.
2 big plays on the same drive and a 41-yard touchdown connection as Daniels has his 8th of the year.
A different type of negotiation of the pocket, but Mitchell, as I showed you at halftime, is the best in the business at it. A little half step, he shuffles up, gives himself just enough time, and Tavares Daniels, had he played all 18 games, would have had a better season than Eric Rogers last year.
Convert good. Daniels now with 7 touchdowns in his last 7 games. This one a 41-yard strike from Mitchell.
If you're a Calgary Stampeder in the offseason, a Stampeder fan, and you think we're going to lose John Cornish, who was Mr. Outstanding Canadian in this league for all those years, and Eric Rogers, who led the team with 1,448 yards last season, who went to the NFL, Cornish retired, you'd think this is a rebuild year. It's a rebuild year for the Calgary offense. John Hufnagel went out and got Jerome Messam in a trade. He went out and found Tavares Daniels and his staff. And Daniels, as I mentioned, his pace over 18 games would have been higher numbers than Eric Rogers.
Devin Wiley on the return. That's where the Argos will start after Calgary went 3 plays, 75 yards for a quick strike touchdown.
And take a look at how Bo Levi Mitchell and why he's so good. That's Lemon off the edge. Now, most quarterbacks, when they feel this kind of pressure, stop it right there. When they feel that kind of pressure, they start to look at the rush. They start to look for a way to run. What Mitchell does is keeps his eyes down the field. He's looking at his receiver. He feels the pressure and slid around it, and then delivers a strike to DeVaris Daniels.
Off inside, and Brandon Whitaker carries a tackler for a couple extra yards.
Well, they've done this all season too, Chris. It's that response. I mean, the Argos get a good drive out of the gate. They get the ball first in the second half. Ricky Ray gets them down. They kick a field goal, make it a 4-point game. And it almost feels like offensively, that's when Bo Levi Mitchell says, okay, time for a touchdown drive. He goes out and executes it.
Didn't take long, did it? You know, you talked about how he kept his eyes on the receiver. Dave Dickinson thought last week with 6 sacks by Montreal, maybe he was starting to look at the rush. Not there. Here's Posey with a catch and a first down, and they're trying to rip it away from one of the newcomers to the Argo offense, but he has a first down at 13 yards.
I read today or this week as we prepared for this game that Mitchell is also a huge fan of Ricky Ray's. Ricky Ray has been quarterback in the league that when Bo Levi Mitchell first came in and first arrived in Calgary, he watched film on Ricky Ray. He watched how he would go through his progressions, how he negotiated the pocket.
Rashawn Ray takes a hit, got it away, and Jones unable to bring it in.
Tell you what, Ricky Ray got rocked, and he needs his receiver to make that catch. We've seen a couple of these tonight. Ray just bounces outside, and that ball is low, but it had to be because of the coverage.
Been at least 3 drops, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Now what a hit. Glenn Love coming late on the blitz. 2nd and 10. Dumped off to Whitaker. Nice snag, but not going anywhere. Jamar Wall stepped up, and that'll do it for the Argo possession.
Had a good talk with Marcus Brady before the game. He's calling the plays over there with Scott Milanovic for the Argos and asked him about Ricky Ray, and obviously excited to have him maybe stabilize it a little bit. I asked about Drew Willie, and they still believe in Drew Willie in the future, but he's still learning the offense, and he's nicked now.
Ira Lahu's had a good night punting, a 48-yarder there, and Nixon angled out around the 27. It's been another huge night for a Toronto area product against the Argos. Jermaine Franklin with more on Messam when we come back. Jerome Messam hasn't hit pay dirt yet tonight, but he leads the league in that department with more. Here again, Jermaine.
Thanks, Chris. You know, Jerome Messam may be 31 years old, but he doesn't feel that his body has the same football mileage on it that other running backs his age would have. Messam says he was basically blessed by injury earlier in his career. He had to deal with 2 serious knee injuries plus a bout of turf toe, and he always said if he could stay healthy, he knew that the best was yet to come, and he obviously proved it this year as he set a new career mark in rushing yards, and he is just the 3rd Canadian running back to have back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
Funny you mentioned that, Jermaine. Brandon Whitaker's 31, and it feels like he's been around a lot longer than Jerome Messam. Having a terrific year, best ever. On the money again. Jordan the catch this time from Bo Levi Mitchell for a first down.
Let's take a look at the route run here by Kamar Jordan. You see how he baits his man and Devin Smith with a nice, easy 3/4 pace get off the line of scrimmage and then accelerates in the break. Ball was on time.
Puts Mitchell over 208 passing yards, and away goes Messam.
bouncing it around and working his way across the 50. Another good run, over 100 for the 5th time this year.
Yeah, and that leads all running backs in the CFL this year. He leads in runs over 20 yards. And you already mentioned the touchdowns. But, when I mentioned Calgary fans thinking if you lose John Cornish, it's going to be sort of probably take some time to find the next tailback for this team. Well, not only did they get the next tailback, the next 1,000-yard tailback, but he's also Canadian. Helps you with the ratio.
And league-leading rusher. Going to win his first rushing title. He's starting to pull away in that department. Another good run for a first down.
And just by alignment, the look is to run the ball on this Toronto defense because they've got natural gaps on the line of scrimmage. I mean, take a look at the 3-down linemen here and how wide some of these gaps are that before they even snap the ball, they're asking linebackers to take and try and cover a lot of room. And that gives a couple of options to Messam. He can go to the play side, which is over that left side in that case, or cut it back.
10 carries, 109 yards. Messam takes a break, and Harrison off the left side. And I had mentioned earlier tonight, now let's update the stat of the 15 100-yard rushing games that haven't involved an Argo running back this year. Toronto has surrendered 7 of them. So they've been vulnerable against the run and have not had an answer for 33.
Yeah, not a bad comment, or not a very good combination for Scott Milanovich. Your defense struggles against the run, and you're playing against Jerome Messam, and the #1 running back in the game.
2nd and 7. 4-man rush. Has Mitchell on the run with a penalty down. And that pass is caught. Would be a first down for Jordan, but let's see what the flag's about. Justin Hickman pointing it out that it's going against Calgary.
Holding. Calgary number 53. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Brad Erdos, who came into the game with the injury to Pierre Lavertu.
Erdos right there, number 53. Steps outside. I believe he was on Hickman, and he throws Justin Hickman to the ground. Which clearly has made him grumpy.
Nice from Simon Fraser. I've seen that look. 2nd and a bunch. Pressure on. Mitchell steps up. And incomplete. Oh, he had West, and they aren't been on the same page.
No, they're not. And you don't very often see Mitchell frustrated, and he was after that throw. And that's the 2nd time that he's going to have to go over there and talk to Joe West. Now, Joe West hasn't played for a while.
I was going to say, he hasn't been in the lineup since early July.
#1 receiver out here on the wide side, but because of the scramble, he's going to throw it back against his body. He ends up coming in on that dig, but he wanted to throw him open over into that open spot, and West wasn't on the same page.
There's Maver. Not as good a kick. Gets a good bounce, and Spencer can't field it. 41 yards and no return at the 17-yard line. Argo football, when we come back, they trail by 11. A lot of comparisons have been made to the 89 Eskimos that went 16-2, but how about the 14-1-1 Edmonton Eskimos of 1981 that many regard as the best ever? And that's how they match up against this 2016 Stampeder team at 14-1-1 and counting.
16-game schedule back then. That team led by Warren Moon.
Ray hit, got it away, and Posey with a snag. Reached back onto his hip to make the grab and move the chains.
That was a good catch. That one, DeVere Posey had to catch it in a small window while being distracted by defenders. Alex Singleton, I think he got a piece of that. The linebacker right in the throwing lane.
Posey out of Ohio State, the guy who ran into some issues with NCAA violations for selling gear, which in the grand scheme of things, not that big a deal, but enough to sideline his career. We talked about that 14-1-1 team, the Edmonton Eskimos. Fun to look back at Warren Moon and the footage.
Wait till you see this next play and flashback from one of the best linebackers, if not the best linebacker in CFL history, and Dan Kepley.
Only knocked Sam Platt back 5 yards.
Wow.
Here's Ray hit as he releases, jump ball, intercepted. Shaq Richardson comes up with it. Excuse me, Tommy Campbell. 25's got it. And Campbell finally out at the Argo 37. Flag down on the play, so let's see if this stands.
Here's your intended target. Kenny Shaw, little double move. Richardson, or Tommy Campbell, not fooled at all, just wins the...
Taunting. Calgary number 39, 10-yard penalty, first down Calgary.
Wins the penalty against Charleston Hughes, and this is the second time Tommy Campbell's had a interception and a big return negated by penalty.
Charleston Hughes here, and you see Cordero Law there. Both lined up off that left edge. One comes all the way around. Cordero Law puts a hit on Ricky Ray.
Well, the penalty came, the penalty obviously came on the return, and it is Calgary football, and Bo Levi Mitchell throws incomplete to Jamal Nixon.
Ray's taken a couple big hits in this game. Had chances to make plays off them. The receivers didn't win the battle at the other end.
Contested catch that ends up in an interception, and he watches as Mitchell throws incomplete, a 2-and-out. Daniels and Mitchell this time.
Well, that 81 team and Warren Moon passed for just shy of 4,000 yards at a time when the game was different. Obviously, a lot different back there in the 80s, early 80s. But look at the numbers compared. Bo Levi Mitchell, #1 in the league at 5,127 coming in. And the touchdown interceptions, outstanding for the Calgary quarterback.
Maver looks for a pin. And that ball fielded by Posey, who gets inside to the 22-yard line. So the interception by Ray doesn't cost the Argos points, and here in the final minute of the third quarter, he goes back to work. By the way, Ricky Ray has been with the Argos now for the 89th game. He has missed 37, has missed 42% of the games because of injury since becoming Toronto Argonaut property. Won a Grey Cup in 2012, his first year, but since then hasn't been able to stay healthy. Big hit there. Glenn Love taking the spot of Duron Mayo.
You can see the record when the Argos have had him in the lineup. I mentioned the start. He started the first 5 games of the year, then was injured and missed, and then came back for a couple injured again. But you can see their record 2-7 without him in the lineup. And look at that bottom line. I mean, this touchdown to interception ratio when Ray's in the lineup and when he's not. And they've gone through a few. And we're going to have to ask the question, is this Ricky Ray's last year?
More about that in the fourth quarter. Is this maybe his last start or his second last start? Another great close there by Ciante Evans. And this secondary defends well, and tackles well. And the punt team will have to come on the final play of the third quarter. Calgary defense has stepped up after conceding an opening drive touchdown. 24-13 Stamps at three-quarter time. 11-point game as we head to the fourth quarter. Calgary looking for that 9-0 home record this season.
You can see that Ricky Ray has more passing yards than the front runner for MOP in the league this year in Bo Levi Mitchell, and yet Mitchell has the 11-point lead, which leads me to the question. I know it's a balancing act for Dave Dickinson. We showed you all the win-loss records and consecutive streaks and all that, but Bo Levi Mitchell's going into the fourth quarter still in this game with an 11-point lead.
Their next important game, they've got one more regular season game, isn't for 1 month. So it complicates things for Dave Dickinson, don't you think, on how much to play a quarterback?
It does. I get that. And, you know, there's two sides to that argument. One is, if you're going to have a 3-week break anyway between the end of the regular season and when you play that Western Final here in Calgary, you know, that rust is going to be there. So does it matter if Bo Levi Mitchell starts next game or finishes this game?
Not a great punt. Bouncing around inside the 50, just a 35-yarder for Hairolahu, and Bo Levi Mitchell is going to go back to work in Toronto territory.
It's just, you know, it's risky, and right now I'm knocking on wood. And I get it, to keep winning and to keep the streak going and all of that, the winning culture. But it's risky to have him in there in the fourth quarter when first is locked up.
Again, Dave Dickinson's trying to send a message to his whole team that this matters, next week matters, and
I get it.
It's an easier sell when your #1 guy's in there. Here's Nixon running close to a first down, and we ask Bo Levi Mitchell, who understands the dilemma, even though he wants to play.
I want to play every single down of this game and next game. You know, I mean, I want to be the guy that led us to the 16-1-1 season and finish it off with 18-1-1. At the same time, though, I mean, I talked to, you know, family, agent, everything like that. Yeah, it'd be great to be the guy, but we're a team, you know, so it'd almost be selfish to want to play that last game and take the chance of something happening, and just how mad would you be, you know, if something stupid happened.
Going through his reads and taking a shot, and A.J. Jefferson there defensively to knock it away from Anthony Parker.
And, you know, and that's the concern, that just something stupid happens. It's, you know, and it could be as simple as a follow-through throw that hits a helmet or something, or his hand. But, you know, I get it, and I get the balancing act. I would be inclined to give him the first half, prepare as the starter, start the games, and then see a little bit of Drew Tate, because, you know, Drew Tate could use some reps just in case they need him in the West Final. But I'll defer to the winningest coach in his first year in CFL history on this decision.
One more game is against the Calgary Stampeders. Another catch for Lamar Durant. Close to a first down. He's got 9.
And a former quarterback, obviously, in Dave Dickinson. And, you know, they've talked it out.
Third down, and short yardage group comes on with Andrew Buckley. Well, Dave Dickinson and Bo Levi Mitchell mentioned this. He said, I got to listen to the head coach and my boss, and he meant John Huffnagel, who obviously has strong input on this kind of decision. Buckley bounced it outside, and see if he got the necessary yard. Argo stopped earlier, and Calgary moves the chains as Buckley gets where he had to go.
Now, the other thing that Dave Dickinson has said about playing Bo in these situations is that he is very, very good at protecting himself, at moving and avoiding those hits. I don't think he's been hit all that much here tonight, maybe a couple of times.
First down, handed off to Harrison and Justin Hickman and Kyler Ellsworth there. May have lost a yard on the play. Wonder if we'll see Torrey Harrison the rest of the way and give Messam the night off. I mean, he's got the rushing crown just about locked up. He's already ran for over 100 tonight.
Best season as a pro for Jerome Messam, 2016. 109 yards rushing tonight. Be a good idea to rest him.
2nd and 11, they empty it out. 6 receivers, and over the middle, catch made. Nixon ran back, or excuse me, Daniels runs back and still has, let's see if he has the first down.
Yeah, it did look like he gave it up. Kamar Jordan on that dig route, he gave up the first down yardage and then dove for it at the end, or did he just become...
they're a yard short again.
Just short, yeah.
Buckley's got to come on again. And that was not Daniels, it was Jordan. Another 3rd and 1, and this time he's got it with a little extra, but he's made it an adventure. Argos had a surge there, and looked like they had a shot at him.
Good surge right in the interior in those A and B gaps, so Andrew Buckley takes the C gap.
Ken Bishop got a paw on him, but not enough.
C gap is just outside of the tackle. B between guard and tackle, and A between center and guard.
Second trip to the red zone tonight, 1 for 1. In their last 5, they were 14 of their last 20. So improving in that department. Parker not going anywhere. Corey Greenwood, the stop. Well, they've been eliminated. The one thing you do find out in a game like this on film is who wants to be here next year in double blue.
Very, very true. And you know, Scott Milanovic will be looking for that. The guys that just, you know, don't quit, don't fold their tent. Jim Barker also over there on the sideline. Keep playing hard. You're a pro. Represent your team, your teammates, and your city.
9th play of the drive, a pump and into the end zone, and touchdown! DeForest Daniels has his second. And 9th on the year.
And that get number 19 out now. DeForest Daniels just keeps running. This is the beauty of Canadian football in the end zone. They're 20 yards deep. A.J. Jefferson wants a little push off there. I saw a little hand fighting. You got to let that go. Both feet in bounds. You only need one. And that's a deep end zone. He caught it right at the back corner.
19-yard touchdown strike, 2 in the game, 9 on the year, 8 in the last 7. And Mitchell leads the league with 32 touchdown passes. Extra points good. Stampeders go over 30 again. And now we're up by 18 midway through the 4th quarter. Have got over 30 points in a game. Daniels with a pair of second-half touchdowns. What a weapon he's become.
And one of the reasons that connection is so good is right after a touchdown throw, catch like that, they're on the sideline looking at the iPad for the next time they're out there.
Here's Wiley. And he'll get tossed down around the 30-yard line. So Mitchell with a pair of touchdowns in the game. 32 on the season. Tops in the CFL.
Take a look at that touchdown run by DeVaris Daniels. Nothing real fancy about it. He's just going to run the go route on A.J. Jefferson. Just widens a little bit. Jefferson at the top of the route there looks back and separates himself a little bit from the receiver. Watch Jefferson as he's looking for the ball. He pulls away. That hand fighting's okay. Both are doing it. Good no call by the official there.
Now Ray dumps it down to Brandon Whitaker, the touchdown march. 9 plays, 53 yards as Calgary opens up an 18-point lead.
And number 4 is warming up.
So activity in the bullpen, and likely Mo's night is done. 5:38 on that last drive, taken off the clock, and Ricky Ray with just over 8 minutes left to try and mount a comeback. He's got Kenny Shaw for a catch and a first down. He got drilled out heavily into the equipment and medical area at the Calgary bench.
And he's just taken a second to do some inventory down there, but takes a hard hit from Tommy Campbell. 3 interceptions on the season, 1 behind his teammate Jamar Wallen-Campbell. And a good legal hit inbounds, but a hard one, sending Kenny Shaw way out of bounds.
And Kenny Shaw is being asked to head off, go through the protocol after that heavy tumble. And they want to make sure he's okay. First down. Rush was on. Whitaker. And that one snuffed by Jagarrett Davis. Mentioned how dominant he was in the first meeting against Toronto. 6 tackles, 3 sacks, a tackle for a loss, and an interception in that game. And he has a tackle for a loss here of 5, and it's 2nd and 15 Toronto. Well, Ricky Ray playing in the final year of his contract, and is it his final year in Toronto? A lot of speculation that's the case. Drew Willie acquired to be the future.
Well, and you heard Jermaine.
Procedure. Toronto number 54. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Chris Van Zyl ahead of the snap.
Heard Jermaine in the first quarter mention that Ricky Ray had said to us yesterday that he is considering coaching. Now, it wasn't specific that it would be next year or anything like that. Based on what I've seen tonight, I think Ricky Ray can still definitely play.
Does he not look like best case scenario as your starting quarterback?
Well, his best chance to win right now is Ray, yes.
Pressure on, swings it across. Whitaker up across the 40-yard line. Got close to 10 yards.
3-down football. Ray's going to get him huddled up on 3rd and 10 here. Well, here's a guy who's having a lot of fun. First year in the pros, 22 years old, just flying around making plays.
Alex Singleton, the number 6 pick in the draft. And now the Stampeders starting middle linebacker, 3rd and 10. Here comes the rush. Cordell Law missed, and a completion to keep the Argos alive. Deontay Spencer to the Calgary 50-yard line. Needed 10 on 3rd down, and Spencer comes up with 17.
Good protection on this 3rd down play up front. Offensive line for the Argos. And Greg Van Roten did a number over there on Charleston Hughes on that one.
Kenny Shaw's back in the offense. Ray throwing Shaw's way, and he's got another catch on the sidelines.
Now there's one guy they can build on right there. Kenny Shaw done a real nice job. Should get to 1,000 yards this year. Came in just shy of 900s. Had a good night tonight.
Over 100 with that catch. Up 15.
I think Deontay Spencer is another one.
So under 50 yards away from being a 1,000-yard receiver.
Ray has time. Watch Shaw. Knocked away. Good defensive play by Jamar Wall, who came into the game with 15 knockdowns and has another on that play.
He thinks he should have a couple of picks in this game. He thought he should have got both hands on that one, not just one, and knock it down. Had one in that first half he almost had. And
has 4 on the year, tied for 4th in the league. Interceptions down across the league. 2nd and 10, short drop, looking for Jones, got it! Down at the 10-yard line, there's the rookie, Brian Jones with a catch.
Big target. I could see Brian Jones being worked in. He's going to be to the left of your screen as a slot back that you could bring in and play tight end. 6'4", 235. Be a good run blocker for you, a receiver as a tight end or as a slot back. No utility player.
25 yards, way over 300 at 301 for the 78th time in his career. And throws the slant here, complete down inside the 5. It's Shaw with another catch.
Take a look at this drive alone, Chris, against the best team in the league, and Ricky Ray's moving the football. I know they're not going to win this game, likely, but you take a look at his performance tonight, over 300 yards. He could still play.
First time back in 7 weeks.
He could still play.
Where will it be? And will he still play next year? Ray, and that's incomplete. And you go back to the first half. The Argos twice inside the 10, came away with field goals instead of touchdowns, or else this might be to actually get them into a tie or the lead. They haven't been able to solve the Stampeders defense in tight. Second and goal. And that pass incomplete. And will they leave the offense on the field? That's a turnover on downs, on 3rd down, excuse me. So they settle for 2 field goals and turn it over on downs inside the 10.
Yeah. Also a turnover on downs in this game in short yardage. Turnover.
4th turnover of the night. Turnover on downs, and Calgary starts on their own 2 and hands it off. Torrey Harrison wrapped up by Sean Lemon.
Good job. Good job.
And with that play, we hit the 3-minute warning. And in 4K. Calgary will finish next week in Montreal by the final week, by the first week of the postseason. Host the West Final. Argos will finish in Edmonton. Huge game tomorrow for the Eskimos in BC. Hand off to Harrison. And it will be 3rd and a punting situation for Calgary. We thought we might see Drew Tate, but Bo Levi Mitchell handing off twice on that series.
Yeah, it may just been of the field position and where they were on the field, that rather than put Drew Tate in for his first snap down inside his own 5-yard line, he leave Bo Levi Mitchell in there that has been taking the snaps all game long, just so they don't fumble.
Those tough on the field deserve a truck that's tough on the road. The 2016 GMC Sierra.
Brian Hall injured on that last play. Big defensive tackle. And it was Hall who made the stop on Torrey Harrison.
Got up, looked okay, and then went, well,
something's not right.
Something's not right in the neck. And because he could have made it to the sideline, but the sideline and the coaches will tell him just, now it's really bugging him. When a player's on his way, he's hurt and he's trying to get off the field. The coaches want him to stay on, take a knee, so that they can make sure they get the right replacements. It'll look like he'll be fine.
He usually has a smile on his face. A little surprising he would coming off after that. And never at a loss for words. One of the more engaging guys in the league, and there's a lot of those. Pressure on, and Hickman, who had 2 this year, thought he had another. Driving punt, though, by Maver. Spencer still dancing after the 55-yard punt, and then taken down around midfield, and the Argos take exception with that. James Juracek in there chucking. Charlie Power having words with the 8-year vet out of Bishops.
Juracek didn't like a close to a late hit. I didn't think. I think it was real late just from behind, but.
Time now for the Nissan Titan Player of the Game, brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League.
Very first drive, he set the tone. Jerome Messam, 5th 100-yard rushing game on the season, the leading rusher in the CFL, another 100 yards tonight. And didn't even play the whole game.
Came into this game with a 196-yard lead in the rushing derby. He's going to be the 10th.
You got to keep it going, baby.
Calgary Stampeder in history to win the rushing title.
My beautiful baby, I love you guys. Xavier, I forgot. Xavier.
I rhymed off all the greats of the past that had won the rushing title in Calgary, including John Cornish and the likes of Willie Burton, James Sykes. The one name that I didn't call and had to recheck, Kelvin Anderson never won the rushing title. 7 times 1,000-yard rusher, never once was number 1.
He was in the Mike Pringle era.
Yeah. One of my all-timers, though, Kelvin Anderson.
Absolutely. And another one of those guys like Brandon Whitaker and Kelvin Anderson that was so good in all 3 phases for the running back position, blocking, catching it out of the backfield, and also running the ball. But you take a look at Jerome Messam's season, over 50 catches, leading rusher. I think people, even this point in his career, have been surprised at how well he catches the ball.
Ray really hit as he got it away, and Spencer has to make that catch because Ricky Ray was punished just to get it away.
Yeah, there's been 3 or 4 of these, and that one hurt him, and you could tell. I mean, that was right in that rib section. And that's where he got hit when he was hurt. Comes late. Hurt the second time. That's about the same place he was hit.
So again, they look at 3rd down. Calgary's forced 19 turnover on downs this year. Whitaker is going to be the victim of the 20th.
Just smothered, though. Just absolutely smothered by this defense that is just flying around. And
5th takeaway of the night for Calgary. And once again, doubleheader tomorrow, 2nd last game at Mosaic. The Riders trying to keep it going. Nick Lewis looks to add to his all-time totals. And then a huge battle in the West as we now have a huge race for second. Winnipeg, BC, and Edmonton all still with a shot.
Oh, I'm watching. Here later, baby. Tackle hungry. Donate.
Charleston Hughes took the sack lead tonight. Torrey Harrison for a short gain as Calgary will run it out here. 9-0. The 93 and 94 Stampeders turned the same trick. And in history, Dave Dickinson's crew will be the 7th team all time to go perfect at home. It'll be 15.
And 19 will go wire to wire here tonight. So, Coach Cuthbert, do you start him in Montreal for the last game of the regular season?
I think they're going to.
I do too.
This will match the all-time Stampeder regular season record with 15 wins. As they take a knee, they've won 14 straight, unbeaten in 16. And now 15, 1-1 on their way to history. Argos were eliminated before this game was done. And now you wonder if we've seen Ricky Ray play at McMahon for the last time. Good start for the Argos, but they couldn't solve Jerome Messam. And then bullied by Mitchell with a pair of touchdown passes to Tavares Daniels. Calgary wins it. SportsCenter is now.